going on, guys, and welcome to my Week 17 predictions. I will be doing this like I have the last 2 weeks, where I go through Week 17, Week 18, and then give you a playoff overview. Either way, before we get into this video, I just want to say, make sure you subscribe, hit that like button down below. It does a lot for my channel and doesn't cost you a single thing. So please do that for me, and let's get right into this video. So here is our ESPN playoff machine. Once again, I will have it linked in the description if you'd like to go ahead and mess with this yourself, see what things can happen, what scenarios you can mess with. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video. It does a lot for my channel and doesn't cost you a single thing, and it's really easy. Just press the button down below. Either way, let's get right into this. Jets, Browns. I mean, the Flacco magic has gone, and it's not left yet. It's actively going is what I mean by that. Excuse me. The Jets are probably down to Trevor Siemian once again. Played, I think, well last week. Honestly, last week with Christmas, a lot of hard stuff to watch. Didn't get a whole lot of games, parts, pieces, whatever, you know. But in Cleveland, unless Joe Flacco just absolutely ruins his whole game, he's winning this game. He's been good enough. Moving on from there, Detroit and the Cowboys. This is a big game for the Dallas Cowboys because if they drop this one, they fall into everything they have every other year, where oh, they're so serious, they're so good, and then they're just not. I do think they will win. They are just a better team at home. However, I don't think they'll win by much. I think it will be a close game. Dolphins, Ravens. This is a huge game. Obviously, 12-3, 11-4. If the Dolphins win, they do take over, and I'm going to go ahead and say they do. I think the Dolphins are going to really be hammering the ball down the field. I think the Ravens took a lot out of them last week when they beat the Niners, and that's great. However, one thing that you're not going to think about is just a win like against the Niners, you set yourself at a tier above, and you overthink. So I think that's going to happen this week. Baltimore gets a little bit messed up at home against the Dolphins team. Then, Patriots, Bills. I'm taking the Bills all the way. I think the Bills, obviously I called them as the Super Bowl favorite, in my opinion, at the very start of this season. I kept them through this season so far. Any of my videos, check them out. You'll see me riding with the Bills Mafia. But I think they're gonna finish the season hot, and if they do, Josh Allen's MVP. Either way, skipping past that, Bears and Falcons. That's a tough one. I'm gonna say Falcons. I think Arthur Smith has got a lot to be working with right now, and if he doesn't win these games, it's over for him. Raiders, Colts. I'm gonna go with the Colts winning at home. It's just what's gonna happen. I think it will, one way or another. Raiders are on a good streak. They could lose for sure. You know what? We might go with the Raiders breaking this up. They are on a good streak. Had a good win against the Chiefs this past week, excuse me. I did get to watch a lot of that game. But, you know, that may be exactly why they lose to the Colts. I don't know. We'll go with the Raiders. We'll give it to them for now. The Panthers and Jags, that's a game for the Jaguars. If they don't win that one, there's a huge issue there. Titans and Texans. I think the Texans get this one at home, but maybe, have to fight to get themselves into that 7 seed there. The Rams and the Giants, the Rams will win that. The Rams are on a hot streak right now. Matthew Stafford looks elite. He's gone back to just not throwing picks and just hucking the ball down the field accurately, getting into the guys. Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp having great years between themselves. Then the Eagles are going to be next. Sorry if you hear my dog barking in the background. Something's not happening. He's just an idiot. The Eagles are going to beat the Cardinals. We don't have to talk about that. A good game to just keep them going and get ready for the playoffs. Saints, Bucks. This is a big one. If the Saints win, let's see down here. They are 7-8. They're 8-7. So they would tie up at 8-8. I'm sure the Saints would take the game tied lead at that point. You know, I don't know where I want to put this one, in honesty. We might skip that one and come back in a moment. San Fran will go over the Commanders. Are we that shocked? We shouldn't be. Then Steelers, Seahawks. I think the Steelers go into Seattle, and I think they win. I think Mason Rudolph can get it done. If he plays like he did last week, absolutely. Mason Rudolph's issues all his career as a Steelers fan was he could not manage the pocket. He would sit there, hold way too long, hold the ball, get sacked 25 times a game. He didn't do that last week against a very good defense. The Bengals' defense is pretty dang good. And, yeah, they were banged up, but so is everybody else. That's not really an excuse. Either way, I think the Steelers, if they win this game, they are in a good spot. And I think they go to Seattle and get a win they need. Then, Bengals, Chiefs. Chiefs get a one at home, and they wouldn't win this game if it wasn't at home. I think the Bengals would have them. Bengals coming off a bad loss in Pittsburgh. It's just a game that I think the Chiefs, they need to win, and they will. Broncos, Chargers. Somehow, this has become the battle of the backups. I don't know why the Broncos are benching Russ. The only reason they've won as many games as they have is because him, honestly. He's not been amazing, but he's not been bad, so don't act like he has. They're going to play Jarrett Stidham over him. They're playing Easton Stick. The Broncos have more to win, but also a lot less to lose at the same time because, I mean, if they're going to cut Russ, well, I don't know what their plan is. I think I'm going to give it to the Chargers. I mean, their record, where are they at? They time at 7-8. Denver might be trying to throw these games a little bit. I don't know. Either way, I'll give it to the Chargers, I guess. Green Bay and Minnesota. I'm going to give this one to Minnesota only because they're at home. I don't think they win this one in Green Bay, but I'll give it to them then. And going back to this one, Saints, Bucks. Derek Carr played really well last week. Baker Mayfield's been on a heater lately. I'm going to give it to the Bucks because I just don't trust Derek Carr enough. I love Derek Carr. I think he's a great not great quarterback. He's a very good quarterback in, the structure he needs to be in. He was fine in LA or Las Vegas, whatever they're in. But in this year, he just hasn't put it together. I think he needs another year, but at this point, I got to give it to the Bucks at home. Now we'll move on to the Seahawks and Cardinals. Seahawks will win that one. Steelers, Ravens. So, this is where the scenario is. If Baltimore had won against Miami last week, they would be sitting all their starters. And that would be great for Pittsburgh. It would be. Here's the thing, though. I don't think it's going to matter because the Steelers play the Ravens very well. I don't know what the record is for Lamar versus Pittsburgh, but I'm pretty sure he's won maybe one game at best. Probably hasn't won any games. He's not very good in Pittsburgh versus Pittsburgh, around Pittsburgh. In Pittsburgh, in the vicinity, he's not playing well. And Week 18, they don't have a whole lot to lose. I'm giving it to Pittsburgh. I think they will sneak in that 7 seed right there. However, it's not over yet. Things can change. Bucks, Panthers. Bucks are going to wrap that one up and clinch their division. Broncos, Raiders. We'll step down to here. Broncos will, I think they'll lose that one to the Raiders at home. I think the Raiders are good enough to do that. This is for the division here, I believe. No, it's not. So I think Miami would be fine if they lost. Maybe not, but we'll go with Buffalo. Yep, I think Buffalo wins that, especially if Miami locks up the 1 seed. I think they'll just rest Tyreek and all that. Maybe play him to get some yards, so maybe he can break the record. But if they can lock up that 1 seed next week, I think they lose to Buffalo. Because who cares? Bengals, Browns. I think Bengals play spoiler to the Browns and hurt their record a little bit, though they stay in the playoff race. Jets, Patriots. Why not? Give the Patriots one more win. Who cares? I mean, the Jets aren't probably that upset about it either. Lions, Vikings. A great game. The Vikings are playing for their playoff spot. I believe Detroit's locked theirs up, so we'll give it to the Vikings. I think they might rest players if they are already locked up their spot. I know they got the berth, so they must have clinched the division. They did clinch the division last week. Excuse me. What am I thinking about? Eagles win their game. Not a tie. No. Eagles win their game. Currently take over. Could the Rams play spoiler to the Niners? That'd be hilarious if they did. However, I'm going to give it to the Niners. I can't put not at this point. Green Bay and Chicago. I'll give it to Green Bay. Think they'll get a good win over Chicago there. The Jaguars will beat the Titans. The Cowboys will beat the Commanders. The Chiefs will get their win against the Chargers. Who's surprised there? And this game will depend on who makes the 7 seed. Pittsburgh's in it now. I don't know the exact tiebreakers, but I believe Houston is out of it if we look down in the AFC South. No, they're not. They should not be. Right now, Indy is the 8-8 team. So if Indy does win, and they are at home, then that means they should stay. I do think Indy will win, and I think they do that because they're already out of it anyways. So they're going to be trying to keep Houston out of it because there's nothing better than keeping your division rival out of the playoffs if you can. So this ends up being our playoff bracket right here for this projected game. We get another Baltimore-Pittsburgh back-to-back weeks. Huge for them. It's in Baltimore, but I think the Pittsburgh boys could potentially do something scary there. Buffalo, Kansas City in round 1, Cleveland, Jacksonville. At this point, I'll take Jacksonville. I'll take Buffalo over Kansas City, and I'll take Baltimore. And then San Fran gets the bye, obviously, over here. Philly and Los Angeles, give me Philly. Detroit, Minnesota, give me to Detroit. Dallas, Tampa Bay, give me Dallas. So that sets up over here. You get, let's see, Baltimore would play Jacksonville, Buffalo, Miami. Buffalo wins that. I think Baltimore wins that. Buffalo and Baltimore. In Baltimore, Buffalo wins, goes to Super Bowl. Over here we got Philly playing Dallas. San Fran's playing Dallas. Philly playing Detroit. Philly wins that. I think San Fran wins against Dallas once again. San Fran, Philly. I'm going with Philly again, man. I think they are the better team overall, and I trust the quarterback. That's what it is. I trust the quarterback. Brock Purdy is not an elite player. He's a fine quarterback. He's good. He's a serviceable player. He's a game manager. Jalen Hurts, star quarterbacks win in the playoffs. He's a star quarterback. He leads his team to a victory. Eagles closed the season off in a rough way last year. They won in the playoffs. They do the same thing this year. Bills, Eagles. Give me the Bills this time. I'll take the Bills for the Super Bowl win. Either way, this is your final record predictions down here. Let me move myself out the way there for you. You can see where your team lands. The right column is where, so obviously Miami ends up 12-5. They're currently 11-4. All these columns, all these, etc., etc. You can figure that out. Either way, thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you have enjoyed all these videos so far. We've got one more week left after this, and I'll be glad to get to those next week. Either way, stay tuned.